busy city street where the people pass by under glowing street lights and a digital sky. A silent camera watches every face in the flow, scanning every passerby that it doesn't yet know. Just like the systems used by the Metropolitan Police Service and the watchers down in Wales by the shore, the lens begins its work without a sound or a shout, just a quiet little algorithm checking people out. It's not magic, not a mystery, just code behind the scenes, turning human features into numbers on a screen. Mapping every face, lines and angles, turning people into data in a place. From a glance to a pattern, from a pattern to a name, in a system built to watch the city's endless game. As the people move along, just a snapshot in the system, quick and silent, fast and strong. Then the software starts measuring what it sees, the distance of the eyes, the curve of cheekbones in the breeze, the nose shape, the jawline, every detail in the frame, built on tech called facial recognition technology by name. It turns the face to numbers, a biometric design, a mathematical port drawn in digital lines. Oh, suspects, missing souls, the system tries to find a signal, lights the screen, if a match appears in mine. Then the watch lists come alive, deep inside the code, looking for a person police already know. If the numbers line up close, an alert begins to sound. An officer nearby gets a message on the ground. But the machine's not perfect, it can sometimes get it wrong. So a human checks the face before the system moves along. Maybe ask a question, maybe check an ID card, maybe make an arrest if the evidence hits hard. Across the land of cameras in the towns and the trains, millions of lenses watching streets and motorway lanes. Some red license plates through automatic number plate recognition eyes, tracking cars that pass beneath the network sky. System shared with groups like the National Police Chiefs Council too, watching traffic patterns as the vehicles move through. Security for cities or a watchful digital sea, depends on how you view the line of safety and privacy. Some say it helps catch criminals before they disappear, find the lost and stop the danger drawing near. Others warn the watchers may grow too strong one day, with voices like Big Brother Watch leading the way, and groups like Liberty raise their voice in debate, asking where to draw the line between freedom and the state. Imagine digital ID cards in a database so wide, run through agencies like Department for Science, Innovation and Technology side by side. A face in a camera, a phone ping in a tower, movements mapped in seconds by computing power. The data might travel under laws that set the track, like the investigator powers. Act 2016, watching in the back, all overseen by regulators, guarding privacy's voice, such as the Information Commissioner's Office and the rules they enforce. Lies in the crowd, shining day and night, balance security
a mess. America, a hot mess express. You're like old presidents you ain't seen in years and got a clue no more, yes. Your politicians, they all a bunch of phonies backed by the police and courts. Promise the world but deliver nothing but lies and laws. Your healthcare system's broke, ain't worth a fuck. You gotta beg for scraps just to live through the night. You're lucky if you get some meds, but good luck with that stress. Might as well be trying to find a good politician in a haystack. What a mess. And don't even get us started on the lack of food. Fast food in Greece, it's you who consume. No fresh vegetables around, it's all about the crap you're forced to consume. Healthcare won't unclog your arteries. You croak and then you die. America, America, your lane ain't done nothing but cause we people pain.
Good evening, and welcome to the Grim Reaper Network, where today we are going to be looking at the Afroman court case, which is concluded, allegedly, over in the States versus the UK justice system. So we're going to have a complete look between US justice and UK justice. But in order to do this, we need to go right back, look at the reasons why this court case was brought by 7 police officers, and go through the trial. Not necessarily the same way as everybody else has gone through, because I'm just going to be talking through it. And to help you, there'll be some slides on the stage, so to speak. And hopefully we'll get a few people in, and we can talk about it fairly openly. But you will be surprised, because right at the end, we're going to talk about the UK justice system and the differences between our 2 countries. Now, I would say allegedly our 2 countries, because we're supposed to be similar to each other. But we're not. We are so far apart, it is unbelievable. And the difference between the way that the justice system looks at things. So, Afroman, or Afroman to be more precise, he won his court case. Everybody knows this. And there was no liability found on his behalf. In fact, he didn't do anything wrong at all. So what I want to do is I'm going to delay it slightly, only because I want a few more people in before we start. I have pinned the link both on the Grim Reaper Network and over on Mama Bear's channel, where we are also transmitting this. It's unlikely that Mama Bear will be turning up. As you know, at the present moment in time, I'm helping to support Mama Bear's channel and getting as many shows as possible over there, which also includes some music shows from Grim Reaper Music channel, which is going strong. Not as strong as the wives, but it's going strong. But anyway, so there are a lot of differences between the UK and the American justice systems. Whereas the American system, you've got this wonderful constitutional, written in stone Bill of Rights, and all the other amendments that go with the Constitution. Whereas we have nothing like that. And there are some major differences between what happened over in the States with this court case and what would have transpired potentially if this case was heard over in the UK, which is interesting because, from the point of view of what Donald Trump is doing to the British Broadcasting Company, is that he's elected to have a court case over in the States rather than over here in the UK. And you'll probably understand the reasoning why once you've got more of an understanding of how the UK justice system works, and the fact that we have things which get in the way. Okay, so while we're waiting for a few more people to come in and stay, rather than just disappearing, how rude, joking. This might not be for everyone, and I must admit, you've probably seen a lot of this stuff. I'm not going to be showing any videos. I will assure you of that. There's been no videos of the court case whatsoever. There might be the occasional video regarding the sideswipe that I took at the case, but it's more of a bit of fun than anything else. That so yeah. In fact, if I can find, yeah, this one will do nicely. I put this. I'm waiting for it to load. I did put a video out taking the mickey with the system, but while this is loading, I think we'll just have a track from the past. Officer safety. Please enjoy.
Flashing through the night, shadows moving in the street light. Officer, safety at the door, feels like we're at war. They say protect and serve, but what happens when they swerve? From their duty to the fear, it's not so clear. Officer, safety isn't law, it's not the rule. But sometimes they forget and act like fools. Paranoia, taking charge, innocence is casting scars. Armored vests and a badge of power, making choices by the hour. Sometimes right and sometimes wrong. God help us all stay strong. We need trust in the air we breathe, not fear in every heartbeat. A little less of the police state. Let's find a way to communicate. Officer, safety isn't law, it's not the rule. It's not the rule. But sometimes they forget and act like fools. Paranoia, paranoia, taking charge. Innocence is catching scars. Armored vests and the air we breathe, not fear in every heartbeat. A little less of the police state. Let's find a way to communicate. Ooh, officer, safety isn't law, it's not the rule. But sometimes they forget and act like fools. Paranoia, taking charge. Innocence is catching scars. Oh, officer, safety isn't law, it's not the rule. But sometimes they forget and act like fools. Paranoia, paranoia, taking charge.
So, off.
Blue lights flashing through the night, shadows moving in the street light. Officer, safety at the door, feels like we're at war. They say protect and serve, but what happens when they swerve? From their duty to the fear, it's not so clear. Officer, safety isn't law, it's not the rule. But sometimes they forget and act like fools. Paranoia, taking charge, innocence is casting scars. Armored vests and a badge of power, making choices by the hour. Sometimes right and sometimes wrong. God help us all stay strong. We need trust in the air we breathe, not fear in every heartbeat. A little less of the police state. Let's find a way to communicate. Officer, safety isn't law, it's not the rule. It's not the rule. But sometimes they forget and act like fools. Paranoia, paranoia, taking charge. Innocence is catching scars.
Okay, then. There you go. That's officer safety. So, just to recap, we're going to talk about the lawsuit that Afroman faced. And these are the 7 wonderful deputies who brought the case and why they brought the case. So, these 7 officers decided that as a group involved in the raid back in 2022 at Afroman's home, that they would later sue over the footage and the raid that was used. So, in short, they questioned what Afroman did, made all this music for them, about them, gave them different names, etc. And they decided that they should have a piece of the cake. And I'll come back to the cake later. So what the deputies claimed, the group of the deputies from Adams County, including the sergeant that attended, argued that Afroman violated privacy. They said that they were filmed inside the house during the raid, which, by the way, is perfectly legal. Claimed that they did not consent to being recorded or publicly shown. Well, who owned the footage? Misuse of their licenses. Afroman used the footage, including music videos, social media, and merch, including shirts, etc. And emotional distress. Said that the videos and the names made to make them look foolish. Okay. And claimed it caused embarrassment and stress. That was really the crux of what the court case was all about. In Afroman's defense, they pushed back with a different argument. It was his property. The footage came from his own home and his own security cameras. He had the right to record inside his own home. He argued that the content was contemporary and artistic expression, therefore covered under the US free speech laws. In other words, the First Amendment, the Constitution. Public interest angle, the raid itself became controversial, and he framed the videos as highlighting the situation, which was true. So, what actually happened inside the house? Afroman was not at home at the time. He was actually on stage performing, and the cameras were recording everything. It showed the searching everywhere, going through rooms, closets, personal items, checking drawers and storage areas. They were looking for something. They had a warrant. Okay. Um, how they got that warrant is another case, so or that we'll come to, because questionably, yes, it was legal because it was signed off by a judge. However, I personally was surprised to find that the basis for the warrant was very sketchy, to say the least. Anyway, acting surprisingly casual throughout the raid. Some of the clips that later went viral showed officers looking at his lemonade and snacks. Okay. Um, Commenting on his belongings, um, appearing relaxed, even joking at times. One of the most talked about moments, deputies inspecting and joking about his cash, his personal items, their reactions ended up being unintentionally funny on camera. Well, yeah, so far, I can't disagree with what actually happened. What they didn't find is what they turned up for. There was no a victim, no kidnapping. There was no major criminal evidence supporting the allegations. Only relevant minor items like small amounts of marijuana, depending on reports, because some suggested there was more marijuana found, but no charges came out of the raid itself. So, in short, this warrant was based upon an anonymous tip off that at Afroman's house there was a dungeon or an underground area where he was keeping a victim. Right. So he's, they were looking for someone he's allegedly had kidnapped, and that there was vast amount of drugs, etc., at the property. Okay, how it all turned out into a viral moment. After the raid, Afroman goes gets access to the security footage, and there's something unexpected. He turned it into content, which he's allowed to do. Okay, he used clips in music videos, social media platforms, and merch designs. The videos highlighted the contrast between the serious warrant and the casual behavior of the deputies. Yes, folks, it's a serious allegation which had been made. However, they were so relaxed they could have just gone there for a tea party and ate cake. The video highlighted also the moments that looked awkward and comedic. This is what led directly to the lawsuit from the deputies. So the deputies were actually claiming that they looked foolish, but it was Afroman that made them look foolish. No, sorry, it wasn't. However, why people found it so viral? Wild. The situation stood out because the serious police raid turned into a music video content. Officers conducting the search ended up on t-shirts and memes. Legal case about privacy collided with free speech and satire. Okay, now that is what I would say was the reasoning behind it. I mean, even the court case went viral. It was filmed, it was shown live on quite a few YouTube channels. I watched quite a bit of it, and I've got to admit, I found the whole situation really, really funny. And so did a lot of other commentators who went through it all. It's not often the police operation ends up being remixed into entertainment by a person, by the person targeted. It's not. It's the first time I've ever seen it. I mean, Afroman did Because I Got High. That was his hit. Not really seen much of him until this happened, and yeah, well, good on you. That's all I can say. In the bigger picture, the raid raised questions like how far the police can go during a search. Do people have the right to publish footage of officers inside their house? Let's just say that that also includes any video which is being recorded inside the house. Where's the line between privacy and public accountability? Is there a line? That was another question. These questions are exactly what carried into the courtroom battle. Well, I wouldn't say it was a battle. I would say it was a case of a decent defense lawyer. Sorry, I'll rephrase this, because it was a civil case, not a criminal case. The defense lawyer was the bald-headed guy, right, who was representing the 7 officers. They were the prosecution, because they were bringing it. Let's get it right. They were the prosecution, and the defense lawyer was for Afroman. Okay, so what actually ensued was an hilarious point of viral entertainment, in my opinion, and I'm waiting for more videos to come out. Why the case got so much attention, the whole situation blew up because it combined police conduct, music, and internet culture, free speech rights, and honestly, the unusual image of deputies ending up in a music videos and memes made it go so viral. The music videos that caused the uproar, Afroman turned the raid into songs like Will You Help Me Fix My Door and Lemon Pound Cake. There was also another one which came out, and that was it'll come to me in a minute what the one I was thinking of. Yes, Afroman's Afroman's licking song, and that's what I'll say about that one, folks. These weren't just random edits; they were directly featured deputies during the search. Now, obviously, one of the things they were looking for was a kidnapped victim. Now, you could see in the videos them actually going through the pockets of the suits. Work that one out, folks. Lemon pound cake moments. This is because it was the most viral part. In the footage, deputies were seen in the kitchen. One officer looks at and appears to be interested in a lemon pound cake. Afroman turned that into a running joke in the song lyrics, implying officers were more focused on snacks than serious police work. Why the deputies didn't like it? It made them look unprofessional and distracted during a serious raid. Not rage. They had the rage afterwards, folks. Well, let me just say, if you look at any police video, the camera doesn't make the police look stupid and unprofessional. It's what the camera is videoing. Damage to the door. This was a theme during the raid. The police forced entry, damaging the door, and the whole song was built around Repair My Door. Repeated clips of the entry. Why this mattered? It turned a standard police tactic into a mocking, repetitive joke at their expense. Afroman tried to get the police to pay for the damage caused to the woodwork and to the door, and they refused. So what's the next best thing to do? Put a song out. Why not? Close-up facial expressions. Afroman didn't use general footage. He zoomed in on it. Officers' faces, their reactions, awkward or candid moments. These edits slowed down things, replayed expressions, matched them to humorous lyrics. Their complaint, this made them look ridiculous and incompetent, especially out of context. Now, how can you have it out of context? That was another question. The merchandise. This pushed things even further. He put images of the deputies on from the footage onto T-shirts, posters, and online promos. This is really what escalated things legally. Deputies urged that their likeness of being used for profit without their consent. Now, okay, so I've always been of the opinion that if you started to put images onto things like merchandise, you needed their consent. Well, I think because if that was out in public, you probably would, but this was in a private setting. Remember, folks, the police went in there with a warrant looking for mass amounts of marijuana or drugs, and also for that victim that they couldn't find. Why it crossed into a lawsuit? From the deputies' perspective, they weren't just recorded; they were turned into characters and a joke. Damn right. Their professional actions became entertainment and memes. What part of professional was there? None. From Afroman's perspective, it was his house, his footage. He used it for art, commentary, and humour. He owned the rights to that, folks, to the music. The key tension at the heart of it, deputies claimed that this is exploitation and humiliation. Really, good job it's up there because I can't always say it. Whereas Afroman said this is free speech and storytelling, which it was. Hello, Mellows. Just waiting for you to be connected. At the moment, I've got somebody in the back who's not, their devices aren't connected. So do you want to retry? That might help. Yeah. So, Anarchy, how you doing, mate? Mellows, good to see you. BBA, good to see you, mate. You've got the link, you can come in, you know that. Anyway, so these were the key points I'm going through with Afroman. And I'm also going to look at how, if this had gone on over here, what the potential outcome would have been. And ladies and gentlemen, you'd be surprised. Why it all blew up online, people found it wild because the police raid became a comedy music narrative. Real officers became viral internet figures. A serious situation flipped into satire. What the hell are they complaining about? Well, they wanted money. That was the bottom line. Okay, single most important legal issue in this case involving Afroman came down to this: free speech versus privacy rights. Everything else, emotion, distress, likeness, basically hinged on the core conflict. Hello, Mama Bear. Hello.
Hello.
How
Hey,
are you?
good. How are you?
I'm all right. You know me, just get on with things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've been following this Afroman and situation, court case, and I just found it so funny. I'm not going to go. I don't really want to go into too much. Well, I'll say that, you know, I've got about 30 odd slides or more. But,
I watched the court. I watched it. I watched it. It was an interesting court case. It was full of laughs. Mellows and I watched it with Nick. It was hilarious.
Oh, absolutely.
It was hilarious.
Yeah.
If anybody gets the chance to watch it,
Please do.
Please do. BBA, it was a hilarious case. It was so funny. It was a hilarious case.
Here's the thing. If this case had been heard over here, there would have possibly been a different outcome. And that's why I want to show at the end the differences between your constitution and our justice system. So the way I put it is, US justice versus UK justice. But
yeah.
So
because
basically,
all the evidence came directly from his security cameras. Everything he is using in his film, is his security cameras in his own home on his own property.
Yes. So technically speaking, he owned the rights. Let's face it.
Correct.
And that's how I saw it. I mean, the argument that mattered most was the First Amendment protection. And that was Afroman's strongest, and he won it ultimately on that basis.
And unfortunately, he proved they are dirty cops.
Oh yeah. But there is an even funnier side, which I'm going to go into shortly when we get there. The videos were protected expression under the First Amendment. That included the music, the satire, the commentary on real events, including the close-ups. And yes, he did make them to be, well, now I'll rephrase this. He highlighted how unprofessional the police were. Right? The court tends to give very broad protection to this kind of speech, especially when it involves public interest, criticism of government actions like the police raid. Don't forget, this police raid, folks, was based upon an ominous tip-off that Afroman had at his property an underground dungeon where he was keeping a kidnapped victim, unnamed and unfound, I must admit, and also he had large amounts of illegal drugs, which they never found. Why the property argument helped a lot. Key factors: the footage came from inside his own home, recorded on his own security cameras, which Mama Bear has pointed out and confirmed. So the court looked at it. He didn't secretly record them somewhere in private. No, the cameras were out in the open. They entered his space while performing official duties. This made the deputy's privacy argument much weaker. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The deputy's case struggled, limited expectation of privacy. The officers were on duty. They were executing a warrant. And the court usually say you have less privacy in a situation, especially inside somebody's house during official work.
And they found no drugs.
No, they didn't find anything. That was the funny thing. And no charges were ever made either.
No, they never filed no drugs. They went on a search warrant, and then the person that their key informant was later arrested.
Yeah, but originally it was an ominous tip-off.
No, they talked, the person that came in, they interviewed her. No, they knew who she was. They sat down and interviewed her. And
I missed that bit. I must admit, because of the time difference between the US and the UK, I didn't catch everything. But
they interviewed her.
Ariel?
They had a long interview with her. The detectives did. They went and got the warrant. And they had her statement and everything. They knew who she was, the whole 9 yards. And that she told that, yep, he had a kidnapped victim there.
Right. But couldn't name the victim.
And they, the whole 9 yards.
So,
and it was all fabricated evidence.
Yeah, totally agree. Public interest factor. Okay, this is interesting. The raid itself became controversial. Well, yes and no. They were acting on what they thought was a legitimate search warrant. The footage was seen documenting real police in action, something the police has legitimate interest in seeing, and strengthened free speech protections even more. You've probably all seen auditors out in public recording the police. And we know that the police don't like it. Well, here's another reason why they don't like it. They don't like accountability. And when they do, they drum up a civil suit in relation to this and turn around and say, oh, they hurt my feelings. How dare someone put all this information out about us? How dare they make money out of us? If you'd have paid for the door to be fixed in the first place, you'd probably find that half of this wouldn't have happened. You know, just saying.
All because he's famous because I got eye.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I've actually put a video out about it, my own little slant on it, and if I remember right, I've got another one coming out midnight UK time as well. But yeah, I mean, everyone can take a swipe at the police, you know, and make it satire, especially if they've done you wrong. And I think the more people that do it, the better. You know, and this to me is leading the way. You know, I've got to be honest. Emotional distress is hard to prove. The deputy said they were embarrassed, but legally, being mocked or made to look silly isn't usually enough. You typically need severe harm or something clearly false and damaging. Satire and humour is usually protected, even if they sting. Yeah. No case to answer, in my opinion, and it should never have got to court. What about using their likeness for money? This is one of their stronger points, merchandise, etc. But it didn't beat free speech because the images were tied to expressive content, music and commentary, not just a random commercial use like advertising a product. So the court leaned towards this as art commentary and happens to make money, not its pure commercial exploration. So far, so good. Here's a funny one. It has been announced that the what's the name? I think the lawyer didn't like the outcome. And the lawyer is arguing that the jury got it wrong based on a big hurdle. The appeals court don't ask, was it unfair? They ask, was there a legal error? And here the decision followed well-established free speech principles. So unless they could show misapplied law, procedural mistake, the original ruling is hard to overturn. Doesn't mean to say this lawyer is not going to try and get an appeal in.
He's stupid if he does.
He's requested, by the way, for every juror's background and etc. But my understanding is you agree the jurors before it goes to court. You know, before it actually gets into the trial, part of that pre-trial process is jury selection. Mm-hmm.
You interview each jury before.
Yeah.
And you
Hello,
approve
Ariel.
You approve each jury.
Ariel.
I'm sorry. I hear you.
I'm just checking it. Just checking it was you. That was all.
Yeah, it's me. It's me.
That's all right. Yeah. So
you fill out a questionnaire when you go in, and then when you pick to go in, they question you.
And
so
you can object to so many, can't you?
Yeah. So you're going to have an awful time trying to prove that somebody was unfair.
Sounds good to me. It sounds reasonable.
So they're going to have an awful hard time proving it.
Yeah. I can't see they've got a leg to stand on. What do you think, Ariel?
Yeah, this case is hilarious. He's actually been making songs right off the bat since this happened. Since they told him they weren't going to pay him any money, they weren't going to fix his door. Matter of fact, I think they broke his gate too to the entrance of the house.
They broke the door. They broke the gate. They stole his money, and they stripped his mother's pound cake.
Yeah. I think they cut the wires to his feed there to the.
Yeah.
Once they realized they were being recorded, that's when they disconnected.
Oh no, they cut it.
No,
they tried. They did something because it says that they cut some wires. So I have no idea what they did.
Yeah, what I'm saying, but that was the female officer who actually went and did the snip. Obviously, she thinks that all males should get the snip.
Oh, well, okay.
They took the one cop's side cutters, and literally cut it.
Yeah, they
didn't unplug it. They didn't unplug it. They cut it in half. So he had to buy a whole new wire for it.
Dangerous doing that, though, by the way, folks, because it does carry a certain amount of voltage.
Right.
So, if
you cut the wrong wire,
to show how stupid.
Right. You can fry yourself if you cut the wrong wire. That's right.
Yeah. So that's the argument.
And wait a minute. While we're talking about that, we're talking about his security cameras.
Yeah.
They disconnected it, put it in the middle of the floor, but didn't take it in as evidence. They left it there.
Yeah. Hey, we got Mellows. Hello, Mellows.
He's muted.
Yeah, he always does that for some reason. Then argues and can't get a word in edgeways.
They didn't take it in as evidence. They left it there, but they did disconnect it for evidence, but they didn't take it in as evidence.
So that's like a big hard drive, right? That records everything?
Yep.
Yes.
Hello.
But they left it as evidence.
And then I got high.
Then he got high. That's right. He came to the room. Then he got high.
Yep. Yeah, he wrote a song.
Did you see the part where he made the song about him having sex with the officer's wife, and they kept asking the officer, well, did that happen? And he's, I don't know. You see his face. He looked like he was about to cry. It was hilarious, man.
Oh, there was the wife who divorced the sergeant.
No, that same one. That same one.
Well, wasn't it? Oh, right. Okay. Well, whoever it was, the wife who was divorced asked whether or not all this that went on afterwards was a factor in the divorce, and she said no.
But the husband used it as a factor.
Yeah, he tried to use it like something happened. He said, I'm just making songs over here. I'm just trying to get my money.
Yeah.
That was a different cop. It was a different cop.
Yeah, I just want to get Mello's take on what he thought of the whole comedy show.
Oh, I already know.
Yeah, I know. But
I absolutely loved it. I mean, it was probably the best bit of TV on YouTube. Best bit of entertainment for a while, I tell you what.
yes. Oh, it's not. It may continue because, as I was saying, the lawyer for the paintless, the idiots, is trying to get an appeal through on the basis that the jury got it wrong.
It's not going to work. It's not going to happen.
I know that, but
See,
this goes to show this comedy of errors is still ongoing in the background.
Here's a question, right? Who's paying for the lawyer?
They are.
Technically speaking,
the county cannot pay for it. The county cannot pay for it because they are paying individually.
So who else is paying? So who else? Who does that leave? The police union?
Well, wait a minute. Now, you guys got to remember, this is their third lawyer. They had two previous lawyers, and now this is their third lawyer. Remember that, folks.
And it's the seven coppers.
Who's donating money to this?
There must be a GoFundMe somewhere
Right.
in relation to this, but the 7 officers that brought the case, they are paying for it out of their own pockets or out of the pockets of supporters.
They probably pulled out of their retirement fund to pay for their lawyers. But remember, they had 2 previous lawyers. Now this is their third lawyer. What happened to the other 2 previous lawyer firms?
Couldn't get the results.
They probably turn around and say, there's no case. But let's move on a little bit. The bottom line, the case basically decided by one idea. You can't punish someone for using real footage to criticize or satire the police, especially, and it happened in your own home. That's why Afroman walked away with his win, right? As you can see, I actually got this in the chat.
And then they got their butt hurts over him using cartoon characters.
Yeah. So here's some court rulings in the past, Supreme Court rulings. Hustler magazine versus Falwell. Hustler published a fake, outrageous parody about a preacher, Jerry Falwell, and it was clearly offensive and embarrassing. The Supreme Court said it's protected by free speech. Why does matters here? Even extreme satire and I can't pronounce it now. You humiliate someone is legal. That directly supports Afroman's case of humor and exaggeration. So, again, why bring it to court? You're automatically on a losing battle over in the States. Now, bear in mind, I am just looking at the States at the moment. I'm not bringing UK. I will be bringing in what could have happened if it was held. A similar case was held in the UK.
Well, you've been in jail. You would have been in jail, but you'd thrown away.
What happened? A man filmed the police making an arrest. He was arrested for recording them. Court ruling: citizens have a First Amendment right to record the police. White Matters reinforces the documenting of police activity is protected. Afroman's footage is similar, just inside his own home. We've agreed that Afroman owned the rights to everything that he recorded.
Yep.
Mama Bears pointed out that they didn't take the hard drives. Even, I mean, they could have done, but they didn't find anything. They didn't find any evidence that the warrant was issued for. There was nobody hiding under the stairs, nobody under the concrete.
So the charges were kidnapping and trafficking.
No. That's what the warrant was based on. There was no charges.
Those were the initial allegations why they went there to execute a warrant.
Yeah.
So
and it got signed off.
He was accused of kidnapping, trafficking, drugs.
Right.
And who was the accuser?
It was a female informant they had interviewed, and she had sworn that all that she said was true and affirmative, and they got a warrant off of her statement that they had interviewed at the station, and it was all based on lies.
Yeah. So what Mama Bear said was that she was prosecuted for providing false information.
No, she was not prosecuted off of that. She was arrested on something else.
Oh,
so
right. Okay.
He got swatted, and they doubled down.
Yep.
Yeah. And then when he put the bill in for it to be everything to be repaired, which is all he wanted.
Oh no, they wouldn't even do that.
They wouldn't do that because they doubled down on that.
Yeah, because they.
And it also got to a point where there was another county named exactly the same, and they did a press release to confirm that it was in a totally different location. So please don't contact us over this Afroman situation because it's got nothing to do with us. Well, it got even funnier. When another county has got the same name,
it doesn't even matter anymore.
Different state.
The truth, we've got to a stage where the truth doesn't even matter anymore.
Well, I think it did, but it had to be proven. Fields versus.
No, what I mean is if it's just as easy as calling the police, stopping a policeman and speaking to him and say, that person's a drug dealer, that person's trafficking people, that person's kidnapping people, that person's this, that, and the other.
Yeah,
they go from informant giving them information straight to warrant without any investigating at all. Right? It's kind of like, what is the point of a police force?
I agree totally.
The thing is, he wasn't even home. He was out. He was like touring. He was doing something. He wasn't even around.
He was actually on stage at the time when the warrant was executed. He didn't know anything about it straight away. So Fields versus City of Philadelphia, what happened? People recorded the police in public and was stopped. The court ruling reaffirmed yet again, recording the police is protected even without a reason. Why this mattered in this case strengthens the idea that police actions can be documented and shared. Again, I've got to remind people this is what's has happened over in the States, and it's got nothing to do with the UK. UK legislation is different. However, this is all constitutional. Campbell versus Acuff Rose Music Inc. What happened? A rap group made a parody song. Court ruling, parody, even for profit, is protected under fair use. Why this matters? Afroman's making money from humorous content doesn't automatically make it illegal. So, courts tend to side with speech when it involves criticism of authority, police, government, public officials, seen as essential to democracy. Satire and parody, even if it's offensive and embarrassing, real events when the footage is authentic and not fabricated. This pattern goes across all of the cases. that have been mentioned. What usually doesn't count, and I think the deputies forgot this, and so did the lawyer. The deputy arguments fall into categories that often lose. This has made us look bad. We were embarrassed. He made money from it. It's not if it's expressive content. And how Afroman's case fits perfectly. Afroman's situation basically ticked every protected box. Real footage of a real event turned into music, artistic expression, clearly humorous and satire tone, focused on public behaviour, which is in the interest of the public. And why the courts led the way is it's exactly the kind of speech that they protect most strongly. Big takeaway across the US, the principle is free speech gets the strongest protection when it's about real events, involves public officials, and uses humor or criticism, even if it embarrasses people. That's the legal breakdown as behind why Afroman won and why appeals in this case usually take a long shot. So before we get into the UK equivalent, if this case was brought in the UK, that was probably the funniest trial I've ever seen, even though it should never have been brought. That's my take on it. And all the footage that I've seen, I've got to admit, I was chuckling to myself quite a lot of the time. Because none of it made any sense to me. I couldn't get my head round it. You know, here's a guy who got raided for no apparent reason, certainly no evidence to back up the claims, and no evidence was found. However, in my opinion, Afroman made a mockery of the situation through satire and made some money out of it. So what?
Okay, they refused to pay for the door. When he asked him about who's going to replace my door, the cops says, well, we're not. You know, they took it right off the hinges. They took it right off the hinges.
Yeah.
They broke the gate. They cut the cables to the security camera when they realized they were being filmed. Okay. They literally went through every suit jacket pocket.
Yes.
Literally.
Oh, looking for evidence of there being a kidnapped victim.
You know, the best part about it is the whole case was to stop the video from going out there, to stop him from making these videos, and it's had the exact opposite effect. It's had the what we call the Streisand effect, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's even revived an old rapper's image. The guy's made. He wasn't going to even make any songs anymore. Now he's making songs. They revived this old rapper. You know what I mean?
Right.
Okay. Then when the chief of police, they counted the money, and they counted it in different packs. It was $10 missing. Then when they literally took the films of the money being counted on body cam, there's over $400 missing. And it was proved by the chief of police counting the money. Money is still missing.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Where's the money?
What they actually claimed after the fact was
only
it was
$10 missing.
an accounting error.
But in the video, you could see that there is more money missing.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah,
it was proved there is money missing.
Yeah.
So they did take money.
Yeah, and it's still not been returned because it was an accounting error.
Yep, and it was proved that there is money missing, and the sheriff admitted money missing. And he proved some of the officers that were there have been arrested for different crimes. I can't remember which crimes, but it has been proved some of them arrested. Some of the officers that were involved have left state. Have skipped. Yes. They didn't involve themselves in the lawsuit. They actually just fled state.
No, they were smart. They didn't want to be embarrassed.
The district attorney that was involved in it has been disgraced, and I believe he is in prison.
Yeah, didn't he leave also? And then they brought another guy in?
He was prosecuted, and they he was prosecuted. I can't remember for what. He was prosecuted for something, and I can't remember what.
Well, while you think on that, I just want to go back to the final slide on the UK side again, and that is that the appeal attempt, after losing the deputy side, signalled that they wanted to appeal. The lawyer argued that the jury got it wrong, claimed the decision didn't protect the officer's rights.
Right. They're going after the jury.
Take the case to a higher court. So they're looking to see if they can get it to the next level.
Well, they're going to try to dismiss the jury there.
Yeah. However, appeals are difficult. You need to show legal error, not just disagreement. As the latest available info, original ruling stood in Afroman's favour. So what they're saying is, we didn't like it. We believe that the judge got it wrong because the officer's rights weren't protected. How the hell has the officers got any rights? Everything that Afroman has done is done under the First Amendment. So please, if there's anybody who could explain to me, because let's face it, I don't know American legislation the way that, well, actually, no, I probably do know American legislation better than most Americans to a certain extent, as I've demonstrated in the past. However, I would still ask the question, how? What legal standing have these deputies got to get to the appeal stage? Because I can't see it.
Well, the appeal's going to be them proving that the jury was biased, and that's why the outcome came out the way it came out, and they're going to try to replace them, appeal it to get a new jury and all, because they don't have nothing on Afroman.
So they go after the jurors that they agreed to have. As Mama Bear said, all the jurors were selected. They were all interviewed.
Right. They go through a process. They ask you questions and all that. They don't just say, "Hey, you come on," and you just go in there. It's not like that.
How is that appeal in the interest of the public?
That's what I read. That's what the guy's trying to do.
Yeah, I know, but how is that in the interest of the public?
Well, it isn't.
No, it's not.
It's in the interest of the deputies, not in the interest of the public.
Right. They don't have that immunity.
It's kind of backward, isn't it? I mean, the whole point of the court system is to protect the interest of the public, right?
Mm-hmm. All they're going to do is make more money.
Yeah, I mean, when prosecutors decide whether they're going to prosecute someone or not, they're deciding whether it's in the best interest of the public to pursue these charges or not, right?
Yeah.
So in this case, there is no criminality, there is no criminal activity. It's just a libelous claim, right? And they're seeking compensation, right, for a libelous claim. There is no public interest. Yeah, what I'm trying to say is there is no public interest. So an appeal right, against the decision of the public, it's kind of like, I didn't like the decision, right? I want a retrial kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally agree. I
I
mean,
want someone more sympathetic to me.
this is a civil case; it's not criminal, right?
Right.
This
Right.
case is brought on under civil statute over in the States, right? And what Afroman did was in the public interest,
Exactly.
right? And I'm fully behind what Afroman did. And although I don't have a say in this in any way, shape, or form, watched everything. I have actually stayed away from any groups in relation to this, and I just wanted to see it for myself. And I found the whole thing hilarious. And I think it's a win-win for the United States Bill of Rights and I honestly cannot see how they can bring an appeal against it, because what they're doing is they're still questioning the First Amendment. Now, if the government cannot question the First Amendment,
the bill should get dismissed.
how the hell did this even get to court? That's what I couldn't get my head around.
Well, we know how it happens here. It's just happened to be that it was him. Now, had it been me or anyone else, I don't have cameras. I don't have money like that. I can't create a whole case against them to try to disprove them. They just picked on the wrong guy. That's what happened.
Basically.
Hang on, you just said something there, which you said that disproved them. So the case was about basically money. They wanted, and no pun intended, or is it? They wanted a slice of the cake.
Yes.
Right? But in order to bring that, they would have to. Now they are the ones that have to prove that they've got
PTSD is one of the things.
Yeah.
Shame or whatever, embarrassment.
Yeah.
What have you.
Okay.
Severe hurt syndrome.
Defamation of character or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Inflammation of the buttocks.
Yeah, butt cream. They needed more butt cream. Need to pay for it. I'm just going to bring the form
serious
in.
Condition. Seriously, it's a serious condition. Inflammation of the buttocks can cause, severe PTSD.
Good.
Hello, Fallen.
How you doing?
Hey, good afternoon. Or, well, it's afternoon here. I'm not sure what it is there.
Good afternoon. It's evening here, but hey-ho.
I know. It's like I was listening in, right? And I mean, some people have that word. It's called like butt hurt, right? And so it's almost like they're so confused. It's like they're just trying to do whatever because what I heard right when I was coming on was this really is supposed to be dealing with defamation of character. It's not supposed to be like whether somebody's freedom of speech or, whatever amendment that their claim was defamation of character. But since it's so, I guess, convoluted in the way everything that was done, it's all getting lost up in because what you were read that their rights weren't protected properly, and it's like,
no, Fallen. That's what the lawyer for the 7 officers is putting across.
No, I mean, I understand that. I was just going by you read that, though. I'm not saying you said it. I'm just stating the fact that you read it, that their rights weren't protected properly. But as the defamation goes, is that their rights in that aspect have nothing to do with it because it's supposed to be about defamation. It's about their character being
Right.
shown as something their character really isn't.
Allegedly.
Right. Well, they showed it on camera what their character was. That's why Afroman did his thing, is because they showed, here's our character for everybody to see.
Come on, man. They stole the lemon pound cake, for crying out loud. That's how petty they were.
Well, they were eyeing it up.
They must have been hungry.
Yeah.
No, they took it. The pound cake was missing, right?
Do you know what? If they ate
The
it,
cameras went
high
off.
on
The
drugs.
pound cake was eaten, right? Fridge was raided. They must have found the weed. When they said they didn't find any weed because they fucking smoked it all and ate the pound cake.
Got the munchies.
Found the edibles as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just reporting on the facts of the case, right, and how it played out in court. And I wasn't 100% certain from a legal perspective, so I used AI to get the information, which is what I put out, basically, right?
Okay.
And even the AI found it hilarious.
According to him, even he had like this little interview he did with his lawyers and that, and you know, he didn't even realize that any of the money was missing until they admitted it, right? They was the ones that admitted it. He didn't even know how much money was in there. You remember where the money came from, because he went out and done this show and they gave him $5,000. He put it in his pocket and he forgot about it. And he put his suit back in the wardrobe, right? He didn't spend any money out of it. He knew they gave him $5,000. He had no reason not to doubt that it wasn't $5,000 in pocket. Do you know what I mean? But when they gave it back to him, it was 400 quid missing.
Yeah.
You know, and it was them that admitted it. Do you know what I mean? And until then, he didn't even know. You know?
No. I mean, the fact that they were looking through, or one of the things which was highlighted by Afroman was that they were looking through his pockets for a
Kidnap victims.
Well, they were looking for drugs too. They may have found small amounts of marijuana. They didn't find nothing crazy, right?
They might have found some small people in the pockets or something, you know, hiding.
Maybe some army men, those little plastic men or something. Who knows?
The little
lumpers were not found.
I have a comment. I have a comment about this whole thing. What I find disturbing about it, right, and just as in a person or a personage and how things go, is when they were discussing bias, you know, claiming that the jury was biased or whatever, is there's been a I would almost call it an epidemic in jury bias. And it's almost been the other way. It's almost like if you watch how, let's say, auditors or whatever, they get arrested and they go before a jury, it's almost like there's been an epidemic of bias against them and for the police. And I think this whole thing was brought because they were actually thinking that enough of that bias had taken place that it didn't matter, that a jury was just going to find for the police anyway, like there's a tidal wave of it happening. It's like a lot of these people have been innocent and taken it to a jury trial, and the jury come back and go, yeah, they're guilty of it. And the person, even if you watch the film, the person wasn't really doing anything wrong, but there's been a tidal wave of that bias for the police in a lot of these cases. And I think that's one reason why they brought it forward, is they were hoping that they would find that bias within a jury that would just rule for the policemen just because they're police, and it didn't work.
Yeah. Well, they got butthurt even during the trial. I mean, you saw that with the female officer, and when the song and the comments were made, etc., how it really upset her.
Is that the one where he called her a lesbian?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, that really upset her. Yeah.
Yeah, it really upset her. Maybe my song might upset her. I don't know. But I don't care. But I've also got what I want to do is now that the trial, in my opinion, is over with, and they've got two hopes of an appeal. One is a Bob Hope, and the other one's no hope. I wanted to look at the difference between UK legislation and American law, right? And how it could be different if a similar case was brought over here in the UK. Right? And I would like to say that I was surprised at the results. However, I wasn't. Let's move it on. We've done that. Okay, so the big difference, UK versus US law. In the United States is strong First Amendment. Courts heavily favour free speech, satire and criticism of authorities. That's why Afroman won, and we've covered that. In the UK, there is no single free speech law as strong as the First Amendment. Instead, courts balance rights under the Human Rights Act 1998. Article 10, freedom of expression. Article 8, right to privacy. And UK courts often give privacy more weight than the US does.
Let me ask you one question. Do you guys have the cases shown on TV like they do here?
No.
Certain cases. See, he had a lot of eyeballs on his case.
Yes.
Also, so it's kind of hard to.
Yeah, the only thing which has been given recently for anything to be put, shown on TV is when a sentence is given.
Okay.
And then only certain cases, it's like really big cases that get shown, but don't get shown on TV. It's usually on the court TV, which is then on YouTube.
So wearing a full British flag suit's not going to help you in court over there, then.
Watch this space.
What do you think about his clothing? I thought he was really smart when he came with that whole clothing.
Oh, it was brilliant. That was.
I'm an American. Brilliant. He's making sure everybody.
Although I have learned that technically, it could be seen as defacing the flag. But if that was the case, then the thin blue line would also be officially outlawed, as a result of it defacing the flag. UK legal risks Afroman would have faced over here. Misuse of private information, even though it's his own house. On the UK courts say the officers inside a private property during the search, they might be reasonable expectation of privacy in certain contexts. And this has been shown in an important case. Naomi Campbell won the case against MGN Limited because private details were published even though she was a public figure. UK courts care a lot about the contents and dignity. That Human Rights Act. Defamation risk. If the edits made the officers look corrupt, incompetent, dishonest, they could argue it's dangerous to their reputation. UK defamatory law is more claimant friendly than in the US. Pissing off images right, sort of. I like that. UK doesn't have a clean image rights law like the US, but using some of these like this on merch, especially for profit, could trigger action under misrepresentation and commercial exploitation arguments. Biggest difference in the outcome. The US, in the US, this satire about police is protected. In the UK, court would ask, is this fair expression or is it unlawful invasion of privacy and exploiting individuals? The balance could go either way.
Okay, hold on a sec. I found out what exactly the warrant was looking for.
Yep.
They were looking for in the dungeon. This is the dungeon.
What dungeon?
Does he have one?
There's a dungeon inside his pockets.
The
It's
dungeon.
supposed to be underground.
Little
the dungeon
It's a little
in
one with
itself.
little people, little dungeon.
Yeah, I mean, it was on the house is built on a concrete base.
Okay.
The hidden dungeon under there.
The dungeon was stated that he had a dungeon where he kept, and it was referred to as the dungeon, in which he kept women locked up, forcing them to urinate and defecate in a bucket as punishment for upsetting him or disobeying him.
That sounds like a bollocks if I ever heard it.
Did they ever find a special room? I don't think they did. We saw all the rooms that they went into.
He was trafficking large amounts of cocaine, of marijuana.
Allegedly, yes.
And they had a competent informant.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. I swear on a stack of Bibles that what I said was.
So this informant actually saw this dungeon, right?
In their dreams.
But the hours-long search turned up no evidence to corroborate the claim of a basement dungeon.
Is
did any of the victims come forward to collaborate what was actually said? No. Was there an investigation to confirm any of these allegations regarding?
There was no investigation. If there was an investigation,
sorry, was there an investigation to corroborate the allegation that had been made? No. Let's go for a warrant, folks, and that's all it was.
The house did not have a basement. There was no big stash of weed either. The search warrant documents, deputies recovered a glass jar, green leafy vegetation, shake, THC wax, and several pipes. That is all they recovered.
Yeah, it was nothing big enough to actually charge him with. It was nothing crazy.
Well,
is he not in a is he not in a state where it's legal?
He's in Ohio, I believe. So I don't know if Ohio has. I have no idea.
No, I thought someone like him would have lived with the money he's got, could live anywhere. I would have thought someone like that would have lived somewhere where it's legal, right?
He lives there because his kids live there.
Right, get it.
Yeah, but is it legal over there? That was the question.
It says as of March 22nd, 2026, Ohio's marijuana laws have been significantly updated by the Senate. So I don't know. I'll do some. I guess it does go back some.
Well, I mean, this is in 2022, so.
I mean, the elephant in the room is obviously this informant, whoever the fuck it was, right?
She.
Yeah, is full of shit, and they should be investigating him, right?
Was she a drug addict?
Right.
I think so.
Like I say, she had an epiphany.
22, it says Ohio did not have legal recreational marijuana laws.
Okay. So technically, the amount for personal use, etc., they could have gone along with that because there's evidence of. However, he wasn't caught smoking it. He wasn't actually in the property. So maybe having possession of such a small amount could have not been in the public interest to prosecute.
Okay, so it says here, prior to this, in 2022, Ohio had decriminalized possession of up to 100 grams, about 3.5 ounces of cannabis, making it a minor misdemeanor punishment by $150 fine.
They stole more than that.
No criminal record attached. So they just wanted their money, man.
They stole more than that.
So hang on a second. Not only did they did he pay for that? Because around $400 was missing. The amount of damage caused to the gate and to the door and door frame, because don't forget the door frame came off as well. I mean, the door just flew across the room, more or less, right? The reason why they didn't prosecute was they were going to withhold all funds from that, and that was his fine, allegedly.
Right.
Maybe that was the thinking of the prosecution service at the time. Either that, or they just realised it wasn't in the public interest because it's a misdemeanor. So, by the way, folks, we have already gone through a few slides of the difference between UK law and American law. I just want to go back to this. So, basically, in the US, satire is protected. The court would ask, as I said, in fairness or the unfairness of privacy exploiting, etc. UK likely outcome, realistic. If it happened in the UK, Afroman might win on using footage in music videos as being expression, lose or face trouble on merchandise using officers' faces, certain edits that humiliated individual, data protection violation. Also, instead of a clean win, it's likely to be a mixed result, leading to a settlement or restrictions on how the footage was used. Core philosophy differences. US law protects speech, even if it embarrasses people. UK law, there's a balance between speech, dignity, and privacy and fairness.
You know, he also claims that he was writing songs about his life. That's what he said on the stand. I'm just writing my, songs about my daily life. These are things that happen, and I made songs about it.
Yeah. So in America, you can mock the police a lot. In the UK, you can, but you might pay for it if it crosses into privacy invasion, personal targeting, commercial exploitation. So here's a question, folks.
Yes, this.
Who wants to live? Who wants to be UK justice? I certainly don't.
There's a question here down in the chat. So,
okay.
What if, that one. Yeah.
Yeah, but what if he took for his merch was from his property and cameras? Wouldn't that weigh more heavily in Afroman's favor? Okay, so
it did.
Yeah,
because he told them, he said, if they had never came and did what they did and put themselves into that spot, none of it would even be there. He wouldn't be able to use any of it in any way, shape, or form. That he doesn't go to their house, break their door down, run around their house with guns and stuff, messing with their cameras. So he doesn't do it. And if they hadn't have done it to him, it wouldn't have been there for him to use it.
And the fact that he owned the surveillance was also the main point. You see, in America, folks, if you film the police, you own the rights to that. Doesn't matter where it is, whether it's out in public or whether it's in your own home. You video it, you own what's on that footage.
Yeah, it's totally legal. Yeah.
Absolutely legal. Whereas over here, and this is why I wanted to look at the difference between the two, in the UK, it's the biggest problem is the way you use that information and whether you make a profit from it. It's perfectly legal to film the police or to film anybody, even in your own property. However, if you've got such a thing as a door camera, or you've got your own surveillance inside your house, you have to display a warning that this is being recorded because people have the right of access to get that information. And if you use it for commercial use, then you could be breaching certain things without their permission. It's a pain. It's one of them. But let's put it this way. I don't like UK law because it takes things as what the court describes as fairness. I'm sorry, if you bust into my house and I video it, I should be able to do what the hell I like with that footage and how I like. That's my opinion, which is the reason why I thought that this whole case that the 7 officers brought against Afroman was a joke to start with. They just wanted a bigger piece of the cake. They didn't want part of it. They wanted the whole sodding cake, you know. And they wanted to make, you know, their argument was you shouldn't be allowed to make video and make money and put our faces on merch, etc., and take all the money. We should have some of that money. Oh, by the way, you shouldn't have made us look like asses.
Right.
But I don't think Afroman did. They made themselves look like dicks.
Right.
Because they were so casual about it. They were joking with each other, for crying out loud, during a serious raid. You know, what's this? I love how his only witness in the case was the deputy's ex-wife. Yes, because that deputy turned around and said how it ruined his life. It didn't. Oh, hello, lady.
They're
Lady B.
famous.
Because they didn't do any investigation work. They just broke into his house and so scared the life out of this poor man. Well, luckily, it wasn't actually his home, but the after effects did, yes. And don't forget, it brought shame upon Afroman because of these alleged allegations, which were found to be fruitless. You know, at the end of the day, it damaged his reputation.
I have a question for the panel, right?
Go for it.
Like, do people think that public shaming is good on the panel? Do they think like you do something that's jacked up and then the public shames you for it, if that's a good thing for your character or if that's actually a bad
Are you
thing?
talking about an individually, or are you talking about
I'm talking about if you went in your community and robbed your neighbor's house, right? And all the neighbors came up to you and said, dude, or whatever, or they just started like giving you the side eye because, in that aspect, they didn't like, let's just say if it's your community, that's what I mean. Like public shaming doesn't mean that they beat you up, but just that fact of it's almost like people would call it now like fat shaming or something or body positivity that people be like, hey man, you need to lay off the donuts or something. And in that, it's healthy if they do. So, and like, is there a point in time where even though bullying's been given a bad connotation, is there any time that bullying is good for somebody's character to let them know that there's a line that the community expects out of you?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. If you rob from Walmart, right? They're going to put your picture up on the wall saying that, this guy stole whatever, or you wrote a bad check, look out for it. They post that right up there for everyone to see.
Yeah. Same the law allows them.
And the newspapers will do it and profit off of it, right?
Yes,
they'll put your picture in there.
Yes, they do it. I've been in the newspaper.
And they profit off of it, and nobody in that aspect of that. It's almost like everything now, according to codes, is like commercial. So it's almost like they've made everything illegal, and you have to pay some kind of extortion fee for you to be able to do something that they've deemed illegal, like driving or something. You know what I mean? It's like, that's illegal for you to do, but if you pay this extortion fee, we'll give you this little piece of paper that allows you to do something that's been deemed illegal.
Well, as long as put it, being ostracized. If you do something which is illegal in your community and you try and hide from it, I can guarantee you it's going to come out. For every action, there's a reaction. And with free speech, there is also potential consequences for it. Depends on what your free speech is. I mean, for instance, if it's fighting words in the US and it's directly at an individual, then no, that's not free speech because that's not protected. What Afroman did was protected. He was talking about his own life and putting it into song, using video of actual footage. How he uses that footage was really down to him. He owns it.
If they hadn't vandalized his property, it would have happened.
Exactly.
Well, if they would have paid him, fix his things, I think he just would have walked away and not even made it any fuss about it.
If they would have been professional, I mean,
Right.
actual professional individuals in the job that they were so-called carrying out, it's absolutely it's like you said, none of it would have happened that way. And it wouldn't have, really.
Well, that's a problem where they don't ever want to admit that they're wrong. Oh, no, I'm a police officer. I can't be wrong. Anyone could be wrong at any time.
And it's the best content right now on YouTube.
It is.
And TikTok.
Everyone's talked about it. All the big channels have talked about it.
Even a little channel like this one.
Yes.
Sorry, what was that, Mellows?
I am the law.
Oh, right. Okay, Judge. Cops were very tone deaf. I was not shocked that the community did not come out and rally behind law enforcement because of the leanings of the citizenry. I can't pronounce that. Somebody else say it. Citizenry. But the thing is,
people came all the way from Texas
to
be there with Afroman.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked about this when this happened. Mellows played the video. He was like, "What do you think? This has been going on for a long time. We've known about this. Now they're really, since it went to court, it's just blowing up. But we've always known about this.
Oh yeah, we've known that. We've been talking about this since it began.
Since when it happened, literally, we watched the videos.
I didn't get involved. I had a few computer issues at the time. However, I will say this, right? That where I've been able to catch up on it, I thought it was the best comedy show going, and I really just could not believe the fact that police were trying to take money away from someone for the fuck-ups that they made.
Wasn't he blaming him? Wasn't one of the coppers blaming him for him divorcing his wife or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that the one that
the one and only witness for the defense, with the exception of Afroman, was the ex-wife.
And she's a school teacher, and she said it didn't bother her and it didn't bother her kids. But all the other cops said, oh, it bothered their kids, it bothered their lives. And she said it didn't bother them.
Okay, just want to highlight these comments a second. Long says, I think they've been pulling this scam a little too long in this town. I think that a lot of the police in that town were obviously doing their best to make as much money as possible. Lady V got rid of TikTok because it's compromised. And as soon as licking Officer Lisa, spoke, my eyebrow rose. I didn't know if she was trans or...
Hey, Grim, what's the divorce rate for coppers?
Oh, God.
I would like to say one in, one out.
Surely they can't all blame Afroman.
So Lisa put on the best act, and I honestly believe she should be nominated for an Oscar while on the stand.
Okay, divorce rate for cops
Here we go.
ranges widely from 14 to over 75%.
I wonder why. Evening, AJM. You've missed one funny show tonight. We've been talking about Afroman.
Yeah.
Hey, why do you think that is? Why do you think the divorce rate's that? Because that's for cops.
There's a
That's
lot of
like
Afroman out
after,
there.
right? That's like after
Research.
they've got the job, right?
It's never their fault, though.
No,
You know
no, they were acting perfectly legal as they were beating up their other half, allegedly.
PTS, anger, anxiety, depression from the job.
Well, hang on. How much sympathy have I got when they know what they're going into?
Well,
when they
check this
sign
out,
up?
guys. Check this out. So it
Zero.
says FBI officers wellness spotlight cites statistics suggest that divorce rates in law enforcement, like she said, can reach up to 70%, right? Particularly in California, where one study found 61% divorce rate from law enforcement family. So 61% of these cops are all in California. That says a lot.
Often involuntary carry over of power and control mindset from the street into the home.
Right. That's why I don't think it has to do with their job being. I don't want to say their job's not like there's some difficulty, that their job has no difficulty whatsoever. But I think the fact that in my opinion, it's once they get the job that they go through that egotistical mindset, and that's what gets trained into them and bred into them. That, like what she read there, that they actually then start bringing that into the home where it doesn't work because that's not conducive to
Right.
family and just how to get along.
Yeah, you got to separate your job
I
from,
think there's
from
that
your
type
home.
of mentality, though, right?
They
Where-
support increased alcohol use, isolation, and affairs.
There you go.
Data
Long-
also
long-
suggests that correction officers have a high rate of divorce compared to police officers.
Yeah.
Long says, I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that they were born that way and they gravitate towards law enforcement.
We're born
It would
retarded.
be interesting to see whether or not there's a breakdown of male officers that were divorced by their wives and what the percentage rate is of female officers being divorced by their husbands.
I
And
have
I would
another
also
question
say that-
after that one. It has to do with the UK law and the US law. And if somebody wants to look it up, because like they call her Lickum Low Lisa. And then didn't somewhere in the UK or England that even a girl just questioned if the officer was a lesbian and somehow that got her in trouble. If she just
Okay.
goes, "Hey, your hair looks like my lesbian second grade teacher or something."
well,
Female
there's an
officers face higher divorce rate, up to 84%, compared to male officers, around 76%.
Women
Well,
act like
oh.
men in the home.
Yeah, I agree with Long that I think that the majority of officers are narcissists, and if they're narcissists in the job, they're going to be narcissists at home as well.
Yeah, it
But,
says that the high stress of the nature of police work, long and irregular hours, exposure to trauma, shift work, and difficulties of separating work roles from their home life. So that's where that gets them in trouble a lot, right there.
Yeah.
But I mean, we all have to deal with that, right? I mean, to a certain extent. I mean, even if you worked in a hospital or even if you worked in like this other stuff of like bad things happen,
Yeah,
it's like you have to be able to do that just in society.
Yeah, it is. Female to male is lopsided.
I think there's more females, right?
I wonder if that's due to, well, I wonder what the divorce rate is on the basis of the other half
She said no.
being promiscuous outside of marriage.
Well, I wonder if they looked up, this is going to be really weird, but if they looked up like military, like soldiers, like what's the divorce rate in like that, the military of men and women?
Well,
You know,
that's
because
what,
I'm not saying
that's
that,
where the study came from. The study actually came from the anecdotal and regional reports. Despite the census data, other sources report much higher rates. For example, 2023 article from American Military University and FBI Officers Wellness Spotlight. That's where they get that 70% for the cops and all that. Somehow, I don't know if they did their people or not, but that came through them. Those numbers didn't say much after that.
Yeah, as I say, I just wondered, that was all. But I still think the analysis and the job of analysis at home.
Overall, active military divorce rates remain at 3% to 3.1% annually.
It's a lot lower. So being in the armed forces, you're more likely to have a stable marriage.
Yeah,
that's why they say that psychopathic people, like somebody was saying, gravitate toward being cops. You know what I mean? Because that's what gives them all their authority. It's like, and they don't really have to worry about dying because they're really not military. They try to act like it, but
It's
they're
obvious.
really not.
They're more likely to die or be injured in a car accident than they are anything else. And
Obvious that they
that
would
has
gravitate
been,
to those positions.
yeah.
also,
I've got a question. I've got to ask support. Why are you calling me President Jimmy Carter?
How's your peanuts?
that's right.
I'm a military mama, and I come from a military family. Most people in the military really think hard and long before they get married in the military because they know it's a hard commitment.
Yeah.
And they really think long and hard before they even make that commitment, and they know it's a long haul. So before they even commit to marriage, they think long and hard before they do it.
Well, it says here for military, it says by age, divorce is more common among younger military spouses, with those ages of 18 to 24 facing a divorce rate as high as 50%. The average age of divorce is around 30, and 50% of military divorces are finalized within the first 5 years of marriage.
Yep.
See, I think a lot of that has to do with that was the truth in that movie. I forget which one it was, but I don't know if it was like the officer and the gentleman, but he was like their sergeant or the guy in command was telling them, now look, when you go out there, there's these women that are going to be like, that's what their escape is going to be. So I think, some of that number could be skewed on that too, that women and they get married to the military person and then they divorce them or have a child with them and then, receive those benefits because of that I think that the divorce rate is high in the younger ones, just skewed by that in itself of people trying to find a way out of their situation.
The first 3 years to 5 years is they go to the boot camp. They come back from boot camp and they find out they're not going to be living near their families.
Right, because you belong to the property of the whatever it is, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines.
And they find out they're going to get deployed, and they usually get deployed overseas.
Yeah, the job comes first over your family.
And when they find out they're going to Germany, they're going to Japan, they're going to Italy, they're going, they may live in New York and they're going to Texas, they're going to Alaska. All of a sudden, they're gone for 2 years. And it's not what they thought. And that's the first 3 to 5 years. And they sign up for 6 years. That's when it hits. And they're not living with mommy and daddy around the corner. And they've already moved twice in that first 5 years. It's the hard life. My son was in it for 22 years.
I think the thing is that when you military personnel and their spouses, they obviously discuss things beforehand, and they actually do marry for love. But it's on the understanding that their job takes preference because of the nature of the job. And I'm never going to argue against people going into the military. It is their choice. They know exactly what they're getting into. They know front, they're fully aware of it. And they're in it for the minimum term, or they enjoy it and they stay in it. But the job does come first. It's not the same as the police. The police are civil. They're not military. And the police seem to think that they are a military organization, but they're not.
And when you get that phone call, you think that you can, you're home on leave, but you can still get that phone call. You've got 24 hours to be back on base. You've got to be back on base in 24 hours.
Yeah, and if something sparks and you're on leave, there's a lot of military personnel that won't even wait for the phone call. They will leave and they will do whatever they need to get back to base, just in case.
Yep.
It's not brainwashing. It's not indoctrination. It's just fact of the way that people in the military work. They have a very strong bond with everybody, and I think that is their family is the military. It is they have brothers and sisters that train with them, that within their own unit, they go into specialties, etc. And I mean, if that's the life for you, great.
Yeah.
It's not the same as civvy life. It's nowhere near the same as civvy life. And I'm not saying that I'm not going to stand up for the police. They know what they're getting into before they sign up.
Yep.
And they do get indoctrinated. They do get brainwashed. And this is the reason why the divorce rates are so high, because they believe in their little heads or their little toes where their brain is, right, that the job comes first. Oh, and every time they go out, there's a possibility that they might get shot by random. But you've also got that stronger possibility that you could be driving at high speed and you crash into a brick wall and you're not wearing a seatbelt.
Yep. You are correct, Thailand. They work for us. We
just
pay
call
their
her. Paycheck. Just call her Nerdy. That's Nerdy. That's my friend.
Nerdy.
Yeah.
Nerdy. Okay.
That's how we know they work for us. We pay their paychecks.
Yeah, and technically,
love to hear that.
But technically, you can say that about the military as well, right? Because it's funded by the taxpayer. But that's the only way you can fund them. You know, police forces are being sponsored by businesses now. For crying out loud, they work for the corporations. They don't work for the people.
And it's I feel sorry right now because DHS is not funded, and a lot of people everybody's just bitching about the airports not being paid. TSA is not being paid. Everybody doesn't realize Coast Guard is not being paid. Our waterways are not being protected. The Coast Guard is out there, and Coast Guard is not being paid.
Yeah, but isn't it also protected by the military, by the Navy, the waterways?
Yeah, our Navy is out to Iran.
Right. Okay. All right. Yeah. Oh, okay. I get you now. I understand where you're coming from.
Our Coast Guard is at our shorelines. They are in New York City, out on the waterways in New York City. They're in Miami. They're out in Daytona. They're in the Gulf of Mexico. They are out every single day. We just had a big boat fire in Delaware. Barge caught on fire. Our Coast Guard was out there. Our Coast Guard has got helicopters being deployed every single day, collecting people off the waters at Daytona Beach, Miami Beach. We have spring break going on right now. Our Coast Guard is out getting all these kids from spring break in Florida because they have the boats out there every single day. Our Coast Guard is doing rescue calls non-stop. They're in Alaska doing calls non-stop to the fishermen in Alaska. It's not just the TSA agents. It's not just ICE. It's the Coast Guard. People are not realizing this.
Well, I don't think it's that people aren't realizing it, right? I mean, it's that same kind of mentality. It's like
they're just bitching about TSA and ICE. They're not realizing.
I could say to you, knowing where your heart is, right? And there's nothing wrong with you in having that freedom of expression that you have within yourself to go, well, I could, like me, and it's nothing against you, but I could say myself, well, that's a typical military mom that would be like telling everybody, yeah, look how unprotected we are and look how this and that. Now,
Coast Guard is not military. Coast Guard is not military.
I know, but it's the same thing as protection. You're right. It's not the military, but it's the way that it's being paid and portrayed, and how they're going against like people bringing in drugs or whatever. They claim it's kind of like a branch, like a little finger of the military, in the way that they have commanders and the way that they're governed according to their hierarchical command structure. It's the same way as in the military. That's what makes it bad about the police, is that the police start using that command structure as a military implementation in how they react to subordinates and who's in command. But it's that same progress, like that comment was, is that there's all this fraud going on in these states, right? And all of this stuff getting done. And for us as like regular, I don't even want to call us citizens because of the verbiage, but just as entities of who we are, is to be made to feel certain kind of ways about the subject matter of that protection, because and some people would think that should be voluntarism anyway. It's like, whether those people get paid to go out and do that, those should be voluntary jobs. It should all be voluntary. If you want to go do it, volunteer to go do it. Volunteer, not do it to get paid. Not that people don't need money to live. That's not my point. It's just about the voluntarism is that if they're not getting paid, they're still out there doing it. As in, maybe one day I'll get reimbursed for I'll get paid. Whereas, other people, if they're working some job, they'll be like, man, if you don't pay me by tomorrow, I got to go work somewhere else.
Well, that's what TSA workers are doing. They're leaving.
That's what I would do. And it says here
Because
that
TSA isn't really protection either. TSA is a kind of like a psyop to make you think you're being protected, just for more control to be put over.
Yeah, they're just doing a little screen. It says that active duty and active reserve members, numbers of over 41,000, we're talking about the U.S. Coast Guard, are not getting paid, are working without pay. It's a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, over here we've got the Royal Institute of what the RLNLI, I can't remember what it actually stands for, but they go out and they rescue people who are stuck out in at sea or on the coast. They're all volunteers. They're lucky to get their expenses paid. The problem that I've got is on both sides of the Atlantic, the amount of money which is being pumped into immigration would be better off being used for protection of the citizens. It should be diverted elsewhere. Shouldn't be ring-fenced money. And that's where I've got this issue with the cost of immigration. That's the way I look at it. And I mean, I could be criticized for it. Someone could make a meme out of it. Someone could make a satire out of it. I don't care. That is my own opinion.
What's happening in the UK? You guys are going out of the boats and bringing in tons of illegals.
Yes.
Into your country. What our Coast Guard is doing is going out and saving people from
potential aggressors.
Yeah, we've got boats burning out. U.S. citizens that gone out on their boats, and their boats are filled with water.
Yeah. Now, to me, the U.S. Coast Guard should be paid. TSA should be paid.
Ours is we're saving people from national disasters, drug enforcement.
Yes. There you go. Nerdy's got it right. They also go out and check on drug enforcement for boats with carrying drugs into the US.
Yep,
all
they do
very legitimate
barge fires. They do the big barge fires. They do national disasters when we have hurricanes and tornadoes. They go in and rescue people.
Yep.
And they're not getting paid. And polluters, correct?
Yeah.
And right now we've got all these kids down in Florida for spring break, and right now they've been clearing the beaches. They've had to shut down. I know Miami Beach has been shut down. Daytona Beach has been shut down. They've had to literally clear the beaches because there's been so many kids down there because they're not going to Mexico. Because of everything going on in Mexico, they didn't go to Mexico. They all went to Florida.
Yeah, and that puts extra strain and onto existing resources. I mean, listen, for their own protection, if you've got alcohol flowing freely and you've got drunks on the beach, they are going to do something really stupid, like go out in the water. They're going to end up needing help. So you've got to make the decision as to what is the best thing you can do, and that's to keep them on the mainland.
Yep.
Not allow them access to the sea, because you put in extra strain and stress on people who are not getting paid, i.e. the US Coast Guard at this present moment in time. And it's, people, if that's voluntary work, then the public should be paying for it. There should be, proper GoFundMe's for it, etc., and all the rest of it. However, you're not going to get it because the public will just go, no, sorry, it's not a good enough cause. I'd rather support 7 officers taking a court case against somebody who's taking the piss out of them and humiliating them, that sort of thing.
They
People need to get
humiliated
priorities
themselves.
right, I think.
But yeah, I think that in all of this, right? What is that thing where people say, they just win the Darwin Award or whatever? It's like a lot of these things, it's almost like if people just left them alone instead of trying to save all of these people or claim they're doing what's best for them. I mean, it could like even out a lot of things. And that's just my opinion. It could just even out a lot of things because if these idiots want to drink and go out in the ocean and become fish food, then they've got that choice just like anybody else. Why do I want to pay anybody?
I'm sorry. I'm one of these people that was a medic and my job was to save people. I'm not going to let somebody go out into the ocean to drown. I'm going to save your ass.
Can I just
and that's it. Out? And you should volunteer for that. Whether you get paid for it or not isn't on me.
No, but you're missing the point. The point is, Fallen, if somebody is drunk at the time or high on drugs and they go out, they are not, to go out to the sea, or even if it's a kid, let's put it this way, and they're in a little dinghy and for some reason they get swept out to sea, right? You're saying that there should be volunteers. Well, there aren't enough volunteers to do that. That's why you have the Coast Guard.
I know. That's why all of those kids are down there, like getting drunk and wanting to get in the water where they have to, like that, they have to close the beach down. So, I mean, I get why they do it, right? I get why somebody would claim, I'm going to take this oath to say I will do no harm. So if some idiot I see jump in a boat and goes out there and starts acting goofy and falls in the water, I myself, because of that oath that I took within my own ego consciousness, wants to jump in there and save them and possibly lose my life because they're flopping around because they have no clue what they're doing and they take my life too. Then that's a voluntary to be like, well, okay, everybody should get.
I'll give you a scenario. Over here, we are a nation of dog lovers, so much so that if a dog jumps in the water, right, the owner will go out after the dog to get them if they're struggling. Yet 9 times out of 10, the dog swims ashore somewhere, right, whereas the owner drowns at sea or in a lake or whatever. But you will always get that. And you'll probably get the same thing over in the States. Riptides that come through over in the States, there's no control. That's natural. And you could have some people who are out in a boat, right, and a riptide gets them and they end up being thrown out overboard, right? There aren't enough volunteers. You have to have paid people. And that is the only way around it. It's not as if the US can't afford it, because they can. It's all down to the way that money is allocated by the government.
Yep.
Right. And but you do know.
I will be the first to agree. I'll be the first to agree. Our government does not know how to allocate money. They've got money spent in stupid ass places. I'm going to be the first to agree. And I'm going to be the first to agree. New York State don't know how to allocate money because I live in New York State.
You know why nobody knows how to allocate money, right? It's because there is no money. Everybody keeps claiming there is, but look at the debt. Look at the deficit. Everybody keeps claiming, oh, there's plenty of money and plenty. Man, everybody's broke. That piece of paper you have in your wallet is not money, man. It's a piece of paper somebody printed.
It's a note. It's not money.
Right. It's not money. it's not, none of it's money. That's the thing. That's why nobody allocates it properly, because it's not money. It's not, it's just an IOU. It's just everybody giving IOUs to everybody else about what they think, because tomorrow that piece of paper, that IOU that you thought was an IOU for $20 yesterday became an IOU for $1 because it's not money. There's no money. There is none. Everybody's broke. Look at the deficit of the United States. Look at the deficit of every country. Everybody's in debt. Those are debt notes. Everybody's not operating in the positive. They're operating in the negative. It's all debt. You're paying debt with debt. And financially, you can't do that. It's almost illegal if you look at finances. You can't pay debt with debt. You
Okay, so
can't
what's
say,
the answer,
take my
Colin?
debt to pay your debt. It's not contractual in a way. So that's
Colin,
why it's all
what's the
misrepresented.
answer? You come up with the problem, but what's the answer to the problem?
No, that's why my answer, my only thing that in my opinion, and I'm not claiming is the answer for anything, but it's about recognizing where everything truly is, because there just comes a point where, to me, that's why I say it should be in some way voluntarism. It's like you can only do what you can do. And then it's almost like that. The rest of it's going to have to work its way out. And some people call it the Darwin Award. Some people call it whatever. You can take whatever oaths upon yourself that you want to do. But the only oath that I can really take upon myself is I can do what I can do, and I have to protect myself before I protect anybody else. So if anything is going to destroy my ability to protect myself, I can volunteer for it. Other than that, I can't. You can't, because there's nothing there that's going to be a stable opportunity for yourself other than you, because it's just like that. If I went out, I could get paid for it, and that's why people do it, right? Because of insurance. If I go out here on this job and I jump in the water and I die because this person is an idiot and they take me with them, hopefully that job has insurance that will protect whoever. But there's no money. It's not money. It's just a made up fiat, made up system. It's like that's the reality of it. It's like whether I have an answer for it or not is like, no, we can only answer for ourselves, right? If we can't govern ourselves, then we deserve somebody that wants to govern us, and we'll even vote for them and do whatever, govern me, because I can't govern myself. When we start governing ourselves and know our limits, only then are we, as anybody, going to be able to reel back in what's most valuable. Because it can't be that piece of paper that you have in your wallet claiming, yeah, I need pay, that can't be the most valuable thing, because that's not even real. It's made up. It's a fiction kind of like. It's not even real. It's a promissory note of something, because we're all operating on credit.
Okay,
right?
I want to sort of like link what we're just talking about back to Afroman.
Well, they wanted 3.9 million credits. You know what I mean? It's like that's how silly it was. That's how silly it was. They wanted like millions because that dude made some T-shirts, because it's all just fantasy, right? That guy's like, oh, well, I'm fantasizing about this, and that person's fantasizing about pound cake, and this other person's fantasizing about Lickum Linda, and it all just gets, it's like a psyop for the brain of what we get involved in and what we think's right or wrong and what sides we want to choose, and trying to govern ourselves. Because I think Afroman, he didn't bring the case against the cops. He just left it be. He didn't bring up he wanted to sue him for breaking down his door or having to pay him. He actually just left it alone, right? In some way, he spoke up. I'm going to go get my money. I'm going to take the TV people with me to get my money so that it's documented, right? Because they won't let you go into the police station and the courthouse with your own camera. You got to have either somebody else's, and just trying to operate under that system that we got put in because some way we can't govern ourselves. We claim we're governing ourselves. So Afroman's like, I'm going to govern myself. I'm going to take my property. I'm going to put it out. I'm going to do whatever. Because that's why I asked that question about that police officer over there when that girl said, hey, you kind of got a haircut like my lesbian second grade teacher or something. And like she got in serious trouble. Whereas over here, he could put out that video, and even though he'd get sued for it, get found that he didn't really do a wrongdoing. But somehow that girl over in the UK or whatever.
Yeah, but the laws are different. Remember that. You see,
Right.
the way that the law would see that over here, unfortunately, they would see that as hate speech. I disagree because I don't think it is, but that's just the way I see it. That's all. To me, I think that was just an off-the-cuff remark and a statement, nothing else. Unfortunately, the teacher got butthurt, bit like the police did, but it's just the way it is, you know. Okay, so in regards to Nerdy's going back to Afroman, and Nerdy's saying that they think that there's a little bit of race involved in that case as well, quite possibly, but that is yet to be proven or even suggested legally. There you go, support. We got back to it. We tend to do.
What makes them make that comment? I'm kind of curious on what makes them make that comment to think that there could be race in there. I mean, it's almost like what is it that they've seen that they would say this is why I think that, other than like, you know what I mean? That's what I'm curious about, that statement of what would make them, what was done that.
Okay, maybe his stage name.
Yes, Afroman is his stage name.
Yeah, it's not his. It's not his real name. It's his legal name. It's his stage
Foreman
name.
is his real name.
Yeah. Now the thing is, though, hang on a second. Here we go. Let's have a look. Come on, the most flamboyant black man for 100 miles. He's probably more than 100 miles, but the thing is, you know, in fact, you can see it's a bit of a joke. The thing is, there might have been, there might not have been, but it wasn't brought up in court. As all the police officers were interested in these 7 butthurt pieces of crap, they were only interested in financial gain, and their problem was that he made all this money out of them, made them look ridiculous. Actually, he didn't. He just used an artistic expression in the videos and the memes, etc., which he copyrighted, which is good. Nothing wrong in that. And just exaggerated everything, which is perfectly legal.
They were suing for $3.9 million.
Yeah, for nothing.
And they not only sued him, but they were suing his record label.
Yeah.
They were also suing his record label. And that really wasn't brought too much because he owns his own record label. They were suing the record label as well.
Oh my God, Nerdy. The police raid.
That was in
because your husband had long hair. Jesus. Sorry, I'm sorry.
That was something that was brought up a lot. Is his hair real? That was brought up a lot in a couple different stream I was in. Is
Right.
his
That
hair
in itself is
real or is
funny.
it fake? It is real.
But I've got a question. What does it matter?
That's his next song, right? Is it real? It's my hair real. That's hilarious.
His hair is real.
Well, you can understand why I've not gone into any of the chats. I've listened to
That was so funny.
yeah, I've listened to the commentary from people, right? And I've listened to some people who I've never even heard of. Because I've been watching stuff on Afroman. This is, it's come up. So I've looked at channels I've never seen before, and the commentary was so much in favor of Afroman and the fact that it's his God-given right to do what he did, at the end of the day. And why the hell is anybody starting to cause question about his hair? I mean, what's the next thing they're going to do? Is it the right tone? Is his skin the right tone, etc.? Do you know, it's bollocks. Take that out of the equation. It's got fuck all to do with it. That is a deliberate diversionary tactic by so-called commentators.
Yep.
Hello, El Paro. How are you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for dropping in.
Hey, El Paro.
I'll tell you, we've not heard from Mellows for a while, or Ariel. They may.
Yeah, I'm here. I was making a coffee. Sorry, I was listening though. I did write in the chats.
Yeah. Where? You're not showing.
I wrote that this is about Afroman. I wrote it in Mama Bear's.
Oh yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Because we were kind of getting off the subject. We got into the into the Coast Guard thing.
We tend to do that.
Yeah, which is fine, but that's not what this is about, though.
I text Afroman and asked him to make a song called "Show Me the Doll." Okay.
I want to see the dungeon.
Oh, he's only 51 years old, guys.
Yeah, he's a lot younger than me.
Yeah, well, a lot younger than me too.
I can only use an AI to write songs, folks, and then put them up with some funny videos, allegedly. Right. At the risk of losing you all, I'm going to see whether if I do lose you, I'll bring you straight back up. Yeah, there we go. There you go. We're back on the judgment panel. Right. You're all back.
Hey, it's pretty bad when they open his freezer, open his refrigerator. What were they going to find in there? Oh, wait a minute. They were looking for the dungeon, the entrance to the dungeon.
Yes. And they were taking stuff out because they thought it might open another door.
They thought that, they were looking in the pockets for, that freezer was going to lead to that dungeon.
Oh, I get you. Yeah, take the victim's children and point out a dog where somebody may or may not have touched them. That was a reference. Yeah, sorry, got you.
They went into his garage and seen all those fancy cars, but they didn't search the cars.
They didn't search them.
They just looked at
search. I mean, they knew they had nothing. As soon as they broke in the house, they didn't find it. They were like, well, I think they had a whole SWAT team that just left. I'm not sure.
Well, you see the SWAT guys standing out on the porch, out in the driveway, looking at him like you dumbasses.
Yeah, they're like, what is going on here?
Yeah, and I love the chicken. I love the rooster. Dumbasses.
How did that rooster sound again?
There you go.
Not a single crack pipe was found either. In down the back of the settee or under the bed. Did you notice how they lifted the mattress up to have a look under the mattress for a dungeon?
Oh, that's where the money is.
Hello, be quiet.
I think the dungeon was actually behind the refrigerator. Had they actually moved the whole refrigerator, they would have found it.
Yeah, considering the house was a goddamn pad, dumbass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's on the pad, yeah.
I got a dungeon under my house too. It sits on a freaking pad.
Easy.
My house sits on a pad.
Well, I'm actually in the dungeon right now. An actual dungeon.
My house sits on a pad, but I got a dungeon under my house.
Yeah, I'm in the basement, so.
You know, my house is on a pad.
Okay, Afro's licking low. Sorry, I couldn't resist it. I had to dig it out. As you can see, when she was on the stand, she got really upset, folks. She deserves an Oscar.
Because they would play all these songs and it was hilarious, and the cops didn't think it was funny, but that shit was hilarious to look at their faces as the songs were being played.
Yeah, they found money, but they didn't return it all.
It wasn't.
Okay,
It wasn't even.
Apple.
It wasn't even over $10,000. It was like $4,000, whatever it was. Yeah.
They borrowed it. Right,
Yeah,
I'm going to play. I think I need to play this.
Go ahead.
But they had to buy donuts.
Well, this is so devastating.
They had lemon pound cake. They didn't need donuts.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Alvaro, you're so funny. You're right. She's also very butthurt. But maybe that's because she inserted something in the wrong orifice accidentally. If you know what I mean. All right, I'll play this. This is my take on Licking Low Lisa.
This song got out of hand real fast. I try to warn y'all. I was gonna write a chill little song, behave myself, but it sounded funny. I was gonna mind my business, stay on the shelf, but it sounded funny. Then Lisa showed up out of nowhere with snacks, and now the story don't make sense, and I can't take it back. I made this song cause it sounded funny. Now it's running through my head like it owed me money. It started real small, now it out of control. I lost the plot somewhere around the second verse, bro.
Okay, little bit of satire. I thought that was quite amusing. How dare someone take the piss out of licking Lisa?
She just
Honestly.
didn't. I don't know how she would be able to take a few 1A auditors in that town.
Actually, I just want to say, El Perro, I think the reason why it got stuck was that she forgot to use butt cream. That's why it hurt.
Yeah, we have to send a case of butthurt cream to her. Mellows, we got any butthurt cream left?
Sorry?
Ask Mellows if we had any butthurt cream left.
Don't know. Mellows, you still awake?
Yeah, I am, mate. I'm just getting a coffee. One sec. No, we've sold out. We've sold out of the butt cream. I think, I think we should invest in some more.
Send them a 55-gallon drum of Diddy cream. Then that'll work.
Yeah.
Some baby oil.
Okay.
The butt cream is very popular this time of year, especially over here in the UK.
Yeah, the problem with the butt cream is it actually soothes the burning sensation. We want it to burn, so.
There we go. El Perro can get hold of Butt Crack News Network and get
There's a cool breeze flavor as well that's just come into production.
We'll send them barrels of Bengay.
There's a spearmint one as well.
Has the aloe vera gone as well?
Aloe vera is all done, mate. It's all used up. Pre-ordered. I think, Alexander McQueen ordered the last batch of those.
I'd like to know how Cool Breeze got a flavor.
We did have lots of different flavors at one time. But, you know, what's gone's gone. We'll have to get some more in.
Yep.
We even had cookies and cream at one time. That was Alexander's specialty, cookies and cream.
What was that? Which one?
Cookies and cream. That was
Cookies
Alexander's favorite.
Oh, yes, you're right.
He also preferred the leather boot flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can get a little Coke and some Mary Jane's too. Book Crack News Network, folks. If you've not heard of them, go and find them on YouTube. They are so fucking funny, them videos. Good job I don't want to be monetized swearing like that. Occasionally I forget that I am actually transmitting on YouTube. It seems more like a bit of a family get together.
Yeah, that you keep it in the back room.
We're not in the back room. That's right.
Yeah, we're not in the back room. We're not in the back room.
We're not in the back. Hey, don't talk about the back room without the butter cream. Sorry. No, he's not found Miss Ming Ling. Not yet. He's still looking. No, on a more serious note, because we're getting away from the original idea.
Afroman I can just imagine him sitting there writing songs on paper the whole time through trial. And with them airing the trial live, I can imagine him sitting there like, I'm surprised they aired it live. I really am.
Yeah.
That surprised me. It was aired live.
Why is that surprising?
Because they don't normally air that stuff live. Usually they have it in closed courtrooms. They have to get permission from the judge to air it, and both sides have to approve it. And with some of the stuff that came out in trial, about his wife, and they brought up the dogs. They showed that the dog's screwing, and did your wife have an affair? I don't know. Is your wife cheating on you? I don't know. Ask your client. Right. Somebody admitting that you don't know if your wife's cheating. I would say no. My partner isn't cheating. He didn't answer the question.
Why would he ask Afroman?
Because he's got the
I don't know. Ask Afroman. Is my wife cheating? Well, how would he know? Is he fucking your wife?
Okay. Nerdy says that the judge was also heavy-handed in favour of the officers.
Yes,
I noticed a couple of decisions that were made, you can continue with the questioning, but just be careful. What the hell did that mean? I believe it's the prosecution's job to object before the judge goes in to make a correction. Yeah, allegedly.
There was no prosecutor. Make sure you get that.
It was civil.
There was no prosecutor. This was not a trial from a prosecutor and a defendant. This was a this was a civil trial, not a prosecutor. This was a petitioner and a plaintiff.
So if it was up to the judge probably would have ruled in favor of the cops.
It could have.
It could have quite easily. If he's
it was a 50-50. This was a 50-50 chance either way.
I think it's more than 50-50.
Hey, Cliff.
Yeah.
Wayne,
I think it's more like that 75%, kind of like that divorce rate. I think that judge is more likely 75% would have ruled in favor of the police.
So, but this was not the original judge either. There was another judge, and that judge had to recuse himself because he had handled a trial he had handled trials with the officers before, so the other judge had to recuse himself because there was a conflict of interest with the other judge. I don't know if it was with Afroman or with some of the others, but the other judge had to recuse himself.
Maybe the original judge or the other judge realised that he couldn't hold this court without laughing. Well, I see a few smirks on the judge's face, though, with some of the evidence that was being given by the officers.
Now, there was another lawsuit. I don't know if it was filed and thrown out with prejudice or non-prejudice. I've got to look it up because Afroman had sued the police department. And the lawsuit was thrown out. I got to look it up, and I'll have to do some digging into it. I don't know if Ariel can do it or not. He had sued the police department for the damages to his property and for false obtaining the warrant.
Right.
And it was thrown out. So I don't know if they threw it out with prejudice or non-prejudice.
To me, they had a corrupt judge rule in their favor, and they thought they could do it again.
So if they threw it out with non-prejudice, he can bring it back. Since it's been found that money is missing.
I honestly don't know that one. I know it was dismissed. But again, couldn't confirm one way or the other.
So
I think that the IJ Institute had a good thing. It's like, you know, if the cops come to your place and they tear it up in any way, shape, or form, and they don't find what their warrant or everything that they say they're there for, then you should have the right to claim a charge against them for eminent domain, because that's what their claim was. They had the right to come there, tear your stuff up, and they didn't find what they were looking for, so they should have to pay all the compensation to make that place back whole. Because, you know, to claim, well, we were there for the safety or blah, blah, blah. If you didn't find nothing, you have to pay to put the place back the way it was before you got there. If you damage it, wouldn't you? But I didn't know that Afroman I didn't think he had filed against them, but I could see now really why the police
that's what I'm trying to find here.
would try to sue him. And if he brought a case against the police department and they threw it out or dismissed it, whatever, then the cops are like, well, yeah, since we got it on our side now, so that they chose to sue him, thinking that they would get a ruling just because they're the police. I don't know why people get mad when people want to defund the police when they act that way.
All it says is Afroman's own claims for property damage were previously dismissed due to legal protections like qualified immunity. So they used all that, which generally shields law enforcement from civil liabilities, whatever, when executing a valid search warrant, even if the warrant is based on faulty information. During the raid, the officers damaged his front door and security gate, and Afroman alleged $400 in cash was unaccounted for, but he was unable to pursue compensation through this lawsuit. So he got nothing there, and they threw that out, you know. And then it went to the free speech thing because the cops came after him then for the $3.9 million.
Yeah. So he won't be able to come back at him.
And that is weird too, because that like makes me bring into question, what's a valid warrant? You know, if they went there looking for a dungeon and kidnapped people and all kinds of marijuana or whatever, and there's nothing there, what made that warrant valid?
That's what they call it, so they can cover their ass, you know.
Because, yeah, I think that if that was a valid warrant and that stuff was happening and they broke down the door to get in there, then I myself, in my opinion, I think that they wouldn't have to pay to fix the place back up because, you know, that's just what happens when you're jacking around. But it's like, that qualified immunity, that's what gets me. That's why I think that more people should claim intimate domain. They came and just took intimate domain and said, this is what we're going to do. And what made the warrant valid?
I do have a question. As there was nothing found, would the judge who signed off the warrant be liable in any case in relation?
No, he has the same immunity he has more immunity than the police.
Right. Okay.
Judge has absolute immunity.
Yeah, I just thought sort of on the back of what Nerdy was saying, or asking. It's a dumbass way to shake someone down. It's pretty innate when $400 go in cash is missing. The warrant is not good at all. Missing piece is an affidavit. Affidavit. I don't know. I thought that was signed.
So the judge is called Roy Gabbert, signed a search warrant for the raid of Afroman's home in August 2022. The warrant, which cited investigation into drug possession, trafficking, and kidnapping, was later criticized after no criminal evidence was found, and Afroman faced no charges. Afroman publicly criticized Gabbert in social media posts. So he kind of went after the judge there, referring to him as Roy Droopy Gabbert. And
okay, got a special guest coming up at the moment.
The people voted the judge out, I believe. That's what it says there. He encouraged people to vote him out.
Oh, wait, hang on. If the driver doesn't want the camera on, they can't actually turn the camera off before I bring you up? No? Okay, here we go. Here's the driver.
How's everybody doing today, man?
What's up?
Yeah, right.
I don't know who else familiar with the process, but when a judge takes information, it's what they call it, is information. They have to have certain specifics. In case of a search warrant, particularly in Afroman's situation, they have to have witness that gives them suspicion, reasonable, articulable suspicion that a crime has occurred, is going to occur, or whatever. And in this case, they don't have that. I am absolutely sure of it. And I don't even know the case so much. But the process that they go by under their state statutes and rules and stuff is that they have information. But the law specifically states that information must be an affidavit form. In other words, somebody willing to go to court and testify that they witnessed certain events that led the police to believe that a crime had been committed. And they can't do that by themselves. They can't be the victim and the enforcer, right? So if they have any kind of statements of information from the police, the courts are not supposed to be taking that information as an affidavit, but that's what they're doing. They're taking police information, statements, and saying, well, we believe this. No, you're not supposed to be believing this shit. And the process specifically says that they're supposed to, and it's in the Constitution. This is the grand jury that's not happening. It's supposed to go before a grand jury for indictment first, and then they can get a search warrant.
Yeah, they're going by their so-called, confidential informant. That's the information that they had. That's what they brought.
Absolutely, and that's not by law the proper process. It is the failure of the due process. The Fifth and 14th Amendments. Fifth at the state level, 14th at the U.S. level.
They had a lady that was their informant, and she gave a statement that he had the women in a dungeon in his basement, and he had
that's what they say. That's what they say. That's all hearsay until that document comes out with that woman and her signature willing to get on the stand and testify before, again, a grand jury.
And that's what they had, and that's how they got the warrant.
No, that lady, I guarantee you, did not get on the stand and testify to that.
Well, they did. She didn't, because they never found the stuff to.
Exactly. So did that woman get on the stand in front of a grand jury and have the grand jury pass down an indictment to go get him? Nope.
And when they went to the house, they didn't find anything, but they got enough. She signed the statement to it. And
Did you see that statement? Did you see that statement?
It's all in the report.
So
Yeah,
hey,
in the report. But again, it's an anonymous, and nobody knows her, and nobody's
Oh,
seen.
yeah, they know who she is. They know who, sure, her name's been broadcasted. She's been arrested.
Hey,
Not arrested for
Tara,
that.
did you think because they didn't follow due process, they should pay to fix everything that they tore up?
Absolutely. That's how they lose their qualified immunity. There is a process due, Fifth Amendment at the state level. And if they fail that, you take them to the 14th Amendment in the U.S. Supreme Court. That's what I'm getting ready to do if they don't start following the instructions as the law says. I'm not the one stating the instructions. I'm reiterating exactly, concise English, what the law states.
And he's tried to file a lawsuit against them, but it's been thrown out of court.
Well, the judge there that signed the warrant, he got reelected, and he's there till 2030. December 31st, 2030.
That's why he's using the song and the
Right.
songs and the merchandise to pay for up to $20,000 in damages.
Objection. Hearsay. One of my favorite statements. Hey, thanks for having me up. I got to go. Be blessed. Check out Bus Rides. I'm going to drop a link in the chat. New channel for a new show, the Short Bus Podcast TV.
All right,
thanks. Be blessed.
That's why you came.
Take care, man.
See ya, Paul. Now I know why you came up. You got to put a link in the channel, folks.
The wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round. There you go.
Hey, don't put that out as a parody.
Now that would be a good thing.
I think that was a good point, though. I mean, to that point of that, it's getting so bad now that they're even failing to, I guess, in themselves honor their oath of due process. That these people like Afroman he didn't even get due process. I mean, as in what the law states that the people are supposed to provide for themselves. There's a due process that has to happen, and the judge just signing the warrant because of hearsay of somebody said that that girl needed to be on a stand in front of a grand jury getting threatened with going to jail for perjury if they go into this house and they search and this stuff isn't there. There is no dungeon. There is nothing that there's a heavy price to pay for that person because that's just jacking up a lot of people's stuff. It even jacked up the police because they went there and did stupidity. Because
we've seen here, right? People call the cops.
What if someone was inside and they shot him, Or
well, he was lucky that he wasn't home because he probably would have got his ass shot. Yeah.
Yeah, someone could have got.
He said something about his kids. They had guns to his kids. I don't know if his kids were or not when they initially made the raid or not.
I thought there was nobody at the property, but I could
the cops. I can call the cops on anybody right now and just make up a story, and they will stop you and throw cuffs on your ass before they even start asking any questions. That's what they do. But what they really need to do is investigate.
Yeah, it's too much work.
Circumventing the law in favor of law enforcement is how it's done around these parts. Same over here. Yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Now, how bad is the swatting over there in the UK?
It happens.
Yeah. Quite well. We don't have it in the same way, But yeah, it does happen. We do get questionable raids.
Oh, it happens a lot. People weaponize the police force and call them on each other all the time over here in the UK.
I mean, there was a case not so. I mean, a few years ago, there was a situation where Michael Barrymore's place, is a comedian over here. He got raided for no apparent reason, and the whole thing was streamed live on the BBC. Now, that was very questionable, to say the least, because the BBC were the only ones that had the exclusive rights.
Funny how that works, right?
Well, there was no evidence to back up anything. They got a search warrant to investigate, and they turfed over his place. It was all to do with the death in the pool that he denied any knowledge that it was premeditated or anything. Yes, it did happen, but he had nothing to do with it. And there's been some other famous people where, also where they've had their houses raided by the police. But it only makes the news if you're famous. It doesn't make the news if you're not famous.
The YouTubers, a lot of YouTubers get hit up when they're playing video games or what have you. They have no idea, and they end up getting swatted, either by someone that doesn't like them, or it's like a joke to them, or whatever. It's a good way to get someone killed.
Yeah, unfortunately, certainly over in the States, I agree. I would, until this case came up, I honestly thought that there was safeguards in place to make sure that this sort of thing didn't happen. But I'm totally wrong, and I'm the first one to hold my hands up in relation to that, because I thought, you had to go through more hurdles than you do over here to be able to get a search warrant. But if it's just on the basis of somebody signing a statement and saying, to the best of their knowledge, this statement is true, regardless of how much crack or cocaine or anything else that I've had, and I'm not trying to get my own back on somebody for whatever reason, I mean, I don't even know whether there was any connection between Afroman and the woman who signed the statement, because I thought it was anonymous because they didn't release any information at first as to where the search warrant came from.
That's a good point. I mean, was this a revenge thing? Did she get, stood up? I mean, did she know him? Did she know the police officer? Was the police officer like badgering her for information and she just made up some shit? We'll never know.
No, I think there's a lot
Him being a rapper, right?
Unanswered.
Him being a rapper, you get the rapper, they sing about drugs and money and this is really going on then.
We know how they operate. We know that when they get a hold of one of these informants, they squeeze them for information and they threaten them. And so, maybe she was desperate and just made up some shit just to get, get him off her back.
Get out of whatever trouble she got in. Could
right.
be.
CI, as they call it, criminal informant.
Yeah, I mean,
a deal for something. What did she get arrested for, Mama Bay? Said it wasn't for making an illegal affidavit.
It was nothing to do with the Afroman's case.
Okay, so this whole case has been brought about through the unprofessionalism of the police and the department or the county, and refusing to mend the gate, the door, pay for the electrics to be redone. So he made some songs up about it, about what happened, etc. Changed the name so he wasn't actually using the names directly in a lot of cases, I think. So here's a question then. How come she's never been prosecuted for providing false information? I thought that itself was a crime.
Because she is a what they say here. She is a there's no details about the CI are provided in the available information. The focus of the public records and news coverage is on the raid. Afroman's sequence music videos mock the deputy, however, blah blah blah. It's just because she's an informant that they can't reveal her her identity. She's confidential informant. So you would never know who it is. All you know is that it was a woman.
Right. Okay.
I guess it has to stay confidential for, otherwise it's a risk to her life, I guess.
Yeah, I get that. I just think that it's very strange. That's all. But there again, a lot of what's gone on with this situation is very strange and very unprofessional. And I think that's what's stood out more than anything else. It's just how unprofessional the police have been in that county.
It says Afroman has publicly accused the CI by name Tasty Tasha Chamberlain, whatever. I was going to say, if this is a small town, there's a circle. Everybody kind of knows each other. She's like your local.
It came out. I can't remember where I read it.
Yeah.
Trying to find it.
As I say, the whole thing. I mean, say the reason why I wanted to put this together, and I thought to myself, let's have a look at what actually happened. Now it's all closed off. As far as I could see, it's all done and dusted, apart from the potential of maybe an appeal, which I don't think is going to fly. But what was the difference, between US and UK law? We've looked at that, and I'm still of the firm belief that this was if this hadn't have been scripted, it would have made a bloody good movie. And you never know, there might be a movie coming out.
I bet you this is going to have case laws wrote over it.
Maybe.
Well, wouldn't they have to go to the Supreme Court for that? Or can they just fight it?
You see what I just posted in the back? That's what he says. I have no idea.
Yes. I believe that one of the officers' relatives has been convicted.
Yeah.
This is what Afroman is claiming, so I don't know.
Yeah. Well, he's claiming it in his songs, and also he's claiming it in his interviews.
And if they can't touch him, then it's because maybe there is truth to it. Then.
Yeah, because I don't think that was. Well, it was brought. He brought it up in his when he's making his defence in the hot seat. I did see that, and it was there was an objection made about what the witness said, and it was sort of like allowed to stand. So who knows? It wasn't stricken from the records, and the jury weren't directed to disregard. So there must have been some sort of statement somewhere in there that was true.
Yeah.
Anyway, folks, been going for just over 3 hours. I'm hungry. I've got to eat. I've got food ready to go. The missus has just woken up from a nice long sleep for a change. So I'm going to close the show.
Yeah.
And I'll catch up with you guys later, no doubt. But thank you all for coming in, and Nerdy for all of your comments. So Pyro for showing up as well. With some of the comments and coming up on board. Feels like old times. Allegedly, he says. You never know. Next week we might have something else to come up with. But thank you, everybody. Any closing comments apart from Mellows? Because I know exactly what he's going to say.
No, I'll see Nerdy on Monday, 6 o'clock, Nerdy, Eastern time.
Okie dokie. Pauline?
Yeah. Make some
I
pound
didn't know if
cake.
it was appropriate to say "Long live the king."
Make
Sorry?
some pound cake. Smoke that weed. And for God, don't break your neighbor's door down.
I think I'll get the wife to make some lemon cake sometime.
And just breathe. And just breathe.
breathe. That resolution's still going strong. Okay, folks, thank you very much. As I say, I'll see you all on the flip side. So take care. Bye now.
Good night.
Oh, by the way, there's no outro.
See you later.